seeing that a bomb was hurled at Diamond Harbour. Let's go straight to Shawan Sen, who's joining us right now from Bhangar. From Bhangar. Now, Bhangar is one of the places where has seen some violence. Shawan, you're right over there. Take us through what's happening.
Well, in fact, before I give you the entire picture of how it looks like as far as the results of the Panchayat polls are concerned in the state of West Bengal, in fact, let me just describe what's really happening from where we are broadcasting right now. This happens to be one of the most sensitive areas where the polling has actually taken place. Because if you remember, back on 15th of June, widespread violence actually took place on the very street from where we are broadcasting right now. What you see behind me is the counting center. These are glimpses of what you were seeing from almost every other counting center where the Rapid Action Force has also been deployed, which is part of the West Bengal Police. Apart from that, remember, there are also what we spotted a short while back, the presence of the paramilitary force, the CAPF being also deployed. In fact, the State Election Commission has made an assurance that every counting center in the state of West Bengal, which is roughly about over 300 counting centers that spread across various districts of the state where the counting is taking place, there is a presence of the paramilitary force. Having said that, this is being countered by the locals and some of the polling agents of different political parties who are once again raising this question whether at all there is a presence of paramilitary in most of the polling centers. Now, moving to what's really happening in this very area. Why am I saying this happens to be one of the most sensitive areas? In fact, large-scale violence has actually taken place between two political parties. Let me show the two political parties and their flags. What you see right now, here the fight is between the ISF. Remember, it's a newly formed political party which is actually challenging the Trinamool Congress. And we saw a short while back, Trinamool Congress's strongman, Arabul Islam, who was inside here. He just left a short while back without really speaking to the media. He's the same very person who essentially said that this election is all about carrying out in a peaceful manner, because if they had to actually indulge in any sort of violence, that there would have been complete bloodbath. We're talking about the same very leader, Arabul Islam, who was here. He left a short while back. Now, talking about Bhangar itself, we are at the Bhangar 2 constituency, which over 218 seats that you're looking at. But a large number of the seats have also gone uncontested. What does this mean? The opposition parties have been alleging that the Trinamool Congress has been threatening the candidates, and that is the reason why some of these places, some of these seats have gone uncontested. For instance, in Bhogali itself, where there are about 18 seats, roughly about 12 seats have already gone uncontested, which means a total of 8 is left. We are given to understand as far the counting goes, in that very seat, 4 has actually gone to the ISF, and the rest have actually gone to Trinamool Congress. The fight in this particular constituency, in this particular area, is between the ISF and the Trinamool Congress. And the Trinamool Congress essentially saying that it is the united opposition here, which is the ISF, of course, with the CPM and the Congress too. Remember, in the previous Panchayat polls, they had come together. But this time, what the Trinamool Congress is saying, that there is a narrative that has been built, this narrative of large-scale violence that has taken place. It's unprecedented. You're looking at about 40 deaths that have taken place from the time the polling was announced in the month of June itself. Closer to the nominations, we saw there was large-scale violence that actually took place in most of the districts. Some of the worst affected areas happens to be in Murshidabad, of course in Kuch Bihar, even in North Dinajpur and Nodia. These are the places from where we have seen large-scale violence actually taking place, deaths that have actually taken place. Questions have been asked to the Trinamool Congress as to who exactly is responsible for that. They say that large number of their own workers have been killed in the violence that has taken place, and it is the failure of the State Election Commission. If you go by what the opposition parties have to say, the opposition parties say that it is the Trinamool Congress which has been completely cornered, and that is the reason why they are now indulging in large-scale violence. But the question still remains. There is someone who needs to be held accountable for the deaths that have taken place, because unprecedented images on 8th of June where ballot boxes were stolen. Then you have ballot papers which were set ablaze. So all that put together, remember, this election, can it at all be called fair, free and fair as what should have been for the hallmark of any election?
Shawan, but since you're there on the ground, please tell us whether when you interact with people, are they really unhappy with the government there, with the establishment? You know, I'm not saying just the government, but all institutions of democracy, including the State Election Commission, including the police, including the central forces, for not having clamped down on these hooligans, vandals, gundas, goons from whichever party they belong to.
Well, Abhishek, while I answer your question, no, it's just making a little bit of movement because suddenly there's a lot, it's pouring here. We'll just try and move to another location while and try and answer that question to you. Of course, you know, one aspect that I want to tell you, Abhishek, that whether at all, you know, they are unhappy with the government here. I've not had the time to really interact with a lot of people here to get you a sense. But as I was actually traveling from the airport all the way to this very constituency, and one of the primary reason why I decided that I should be here, because this is considered to be one of the most sensitive areas of all the other districts, be it in Murshidabad or Cooch Behar. The number of deaths that have taken place, 3 deaths had taken place on 15th of June. Remember, it is the same very place that the governor had visited on 16th of June. And of course, the fact that even today, the governor had basically said that they would be meeting the people who have been affected, the violence in this violence hit area. Answering your question, remember, as far as the Trinamool Congress is concerned, the Trinamool Congress essentially says that it is their initiatives that have been, the schemes that have been dedicated to the farmers, because remember, this is largely a rural state. And the reason why they say that a lot of the schemes have been, dedicated only for them, and they believe that has given them dividend. The reason why they are basically focusing on that, or the argument that they have put forth, remember, they came to power on that very note. Remember, these elections, the Panchayat elections, are largely considered to be the precursor to the Lok Sabha elections. The very fact that back in 2008, when the first time Trinamool Congress had the upper hand in the Panchayat polls, it was only after that the dominance of the left was brought down, and thereafter, of course, the assembly elections that took place and the Lok Sabha elections that took place, Trinamool Congress had the edge. So that is the reason why they say that this is the precursor to the Lok Sabha elections, and they say that their schemes have done pretty well. But the reason why you're looking at a place like this, where there has been a considerable incidents, the reason essentially being, remember, is that a political party like that of ISF is turning out to become a bigger challenge for the Trinamool Congress, because remember, it's a Muslim-dominated area, and the ISF seems to be gaining much more momentum than the Trinamool Congress here.